Okay. So it's my first time. Hopefully this is on. Hopefully I'm not screwing this up here. But not having nothing. Hello? Hello. Okay, hopefully there's something going on here. Hopefully my mic's working. I never used this on my camera before or like on my laptop anyways. Yeah. So, anybody to subscribe that's watching. Yeah, I've been doing a lot of stuff recently. Um, I've had a lot of things going on in life recently, so that's why I haven't been really posting many mashups or anything like that. But yeah, so now I'm here. I wanted to start streaming as well. I was kind of doing Twitch for a little bit, but I don't really have an audience there. So I was like, I already have subscribers here, so might as well, right? Probably not that interesting, but you know, um, yeah, I kind of wanted to do a thing where it's like I dress up as different characters and maybe talk about stuff or play games or something like that. I feel like I would get more of an audience if I just talk about wrestling, since there's a lot to talk about, especially recently with like Sasha Banks and Naomi and the whole MJF thing with AEW. I mean, there's a lot to talk about. Um, Will Ospreay, stuff like that. Cody Rhodes being out, that sucks ass. The fact that he's out for 9 months, Jesus. Like people say, oh, he's gonna miss the Rumble. Who knows? Who knows if he does or not? You know. Um, I mean, people people say he's gonna miss the Rumble. People say they're just saying 9 months, so there's more surprise whenever he does come back to the Rumble or comes back for the Rumble and then wins it. In my personal opinion, I think what they should do is if they do that, have him win the Rumble, right? Go to WrestleMania, beat Roman Reigns for the championship. Next feud, Gunther. They're kind of pushing him as a top heel right now. Um, Gunther. I think Gunther would be a great heel for Cody Rhodes to beat right now. Um, the whole Sasha Banks Naomi thing, ridiculous that people are siding with them. I get it. They're doing it for the tag team championships. They feel disrespected. All this stuff. Very weird. For me anyway. That's kind of like a weird thing to say for me, because if that's true, then I mean, so what? Like, you can't just walk out and not expect to be um, freaking God. I can't think of the word. You can't like walk out and expect to be like not expect to be suspended. You know, you walked out. It's a business. It happens. Um, people are pissed off. They're like saying WWE is being petty. They're being petty. Why? Why are they being petty? Because they suspended people without pay that walked out on them during a live show. Nonetheless, like, it's ridiculous. And same thing with like the MJF thing. Of course, people don't really know if it's a work or not. Who knows? They only know. But um, yeah, I was one of the pieces of shit that he was talking about that called him unprofessional, because that's what it was. It was unprofessional. You don't show up to a van event where people pay to see you. That's unprofessional. And there was a lot of speculation that he wasn't even going to show up to the damn pay-per-view. And people were like, oh, it's not the same. Sasha Banks, Naomi walking out and MJF not showing. It's just not the same. It's WWE's fault that Sasha Banks and Naomi walked out. But it's MJF's fault that uh, he's not going to show up to AEW. Like, no, it's the same situation. Even though it's two different circumstances, it's still the same thing. You can't just pick and choose because one's WWE and one's AEW. That's just not how it works. So I think that if it wasn't a work, they both deserve to be punished. Um, let's see what else is going on. Of course, Cody Rhodes. Yes, Will Ospreay saying that WWE wrestlers were just actors. Very, very strange thing to say. Not a very good thing to say, especially when that's like the biggest place you can go. I'm not saying that's like the end all be all of places, definitely not. But saying that they're just actors is ridiculous just because you don't like them. You're going to say everybody that works there is actors. That's not how it works. So, in that logic, that means that Will Ospreay, if he ever did decide to join, I know he said he didn't want to join, but if he ever did decide to join, that he's going to consider himself an actor at that point. I don't think so. He's still going to call himself a professional wrestler, but then he's going to change his mind. Oh, I'm in WWE now, but I'm still a professional wrestler. I was having a debate on Twitter about this, and some guy was saying, "Oh yeah, that's just how it works." I was like, "No, man." I was like, "So, um, you're gonna call Daniel Bryan an actor?" You know, um, just like whenever he left WWE, and then the second he joined AEW, the second he made his debut to AEW, all of a sudden he's an actor now, or not an actor, but a professional wrestler. Guy's like, yeah, that's right. Just like if Will Ospreay, he was like, yeah, that's right. I'm like, okay, so does that mean that Will Ospreay will consider himself an actor if he ever did go to WWE? Yep, that's correct. He'd be a sellout, just like Cody Rhodes. So is this about them being actors, or is this about you being mad that Cody Rhodes fucking left and went to AEW because he called him a sellout? And he didn't even say Cody Rhodes, actually. He said Stardust. So I was like, bro, like, you're just going to bring up Cody Rhodes in this discussion? Cody Rhodes had nothing to do with this. Why are you bringing Cody Rhodes? Are you just mad that he left and went to WWE? And he's like, no, I'm not mad. I'm not mad. It's just how it is. They're just actors and all this stuff, right? He talked about Cody Rhodes for some reason. He just started talking about Cody Rhodes. He's like, oh, I'm not mad. I just don't know why that I would say something that I hated a place so much, and then I would go back over there. I'm like, bro, this is not about that. And so he stopped responding. And this other guy responded. He's like, oh, NBA, the NBA, and the NBA is AEW and New Japan, and the Harlem Globetrotters are WWE. WWE has all these antics, like the 24/7 championship. And the Harlem Globe are like the NBA is AEW and New Japan, where there's some antics, but they prioritize professional wrestling. And I'm like, well, if that's the case, like, so what? So just because they have a 24/7 championship and they do some antics, that means that they're automatically actors and they're not professional wrestlers? That doesn't make sense. I'm like, and doesn't that mean that doesn't aren't the Harlem Globetrotters still real basketball players? So what if they do antics? So what? They're still real basketball players, just like WWE wrestlers are still actual professional wrestlers. And he was like I was, and this other guy, that guy replied again, right? Oh, I don't really care for WWE, or I don't really care for the Harlem Globetrotters, because if somebody left the Harlem Globetrotters and went to the NBA, good for them, just like Cody Rhodes. I'm like, bro, it's not about fucking Cody Rhodes. Why are you going to Cody Rhodes? It's not even relevant to the argument. Stop going to Cody Rhodes. But yeah, like they're just talking about antics. I'm like, do you think that Dunhausen, he's an AEW? He's a big thing there. He, his gimmick is he curses people. Do you think he's actually cursing people, or do you think he's acting like he curses people? What about Chris Jericho throwing fireballs in people's faces? Somebody's like, oh, he's just doing that to make fun of WWE. So what? He calls himself a wizard. He's throwing fireballs at people's faces. But WWE has all the antics, and they don't, right? But yeah, it's just like stuff like that, stupid stuff. I had another argument with somebody about CM Punk, and him saying that he was saying that his time was wasted in WWE. How? And some guy had a good argument. He's like, well, they're the place that made you a household name. You can't say that. And somebody's like, well, no, that's not how, like, that's not who made him a household name. Yes, it is. I'm like, yeah, they made him, like, he wouldn't be as big of a star as he is now if it wasn't for WWE. And people were like, well, he was treated like crap. How? He was champion for 400 days plus. How? Just because he didn't have all the main events? He was treated like crap. He was champion for 400 days. He had a record-breaking championship run. That's crazy. And or somebody was like, well, even he didn't need them. Like, he was still a big thing in Ring of Honor. Yeah, in Ring of Honor. Like, how many casual wrestling fans watch Ring of Honor too? How many wrestling fans, casual wrestling fans, anybody watch just WWE compared to WWE and Ring of Honor? Not a lot, right? He was like, oh, well, he would have been a success anywhere he went. Yeah, that's true. He would have, but he wouldn't have been as big either way, because WWE, like it or not, they're the biggest wrestling company in the world with the biggest viewership in the world. So saying that he would have been a success anywhere, I mean, it just doesn't matter. So I brought up the comparison. Well, look at AJ Styles, right? Like, personally for me, I didn't really know who he was. Like, I kind of knew, but I didn't really know until I was hearing rumors that he was going to go to WWE. So, and then I started looking at his stuff. And then when he came in and, made his debut and everything, it was great, right? Well, I brought him up because it's like, okay, he went to Ring of Honor, right? He was a Ring of Honor champion. He went to TNA. He was a TNA champion. He went to New Japan. He was a New Japan champion. I'm pretty sure he was the NWA champion. And, that's 4 major companies, wrestling companies. But until he got to WWE, he wasn't as big of a star because a lot of people only watch WWE. And, like, I brought that up. And he's like, well, what about Sting? He's like, well, like, before he even stepped foot in WWE with a small little stint in WWE, he was a major star. And I'm like, well, that's not a fair comparison because, he's like, well, it is a fair comparison because you're saying that anybody, he's like, you're saying that WWE is the end all be all. Like, everybody has to be in WWE to be a big star. Yeah, that's true. Until, or like, after WCW. You know why? Because WCW was as big as WWE at the time. So, with that logic, everybody in WCW, anybody, he could have named anybody in WCW. He could have named Booker T, he could have named Goldberg, he could have named Sting, he could have named freaking anybody in WCW at the time. And they were going to be as big of a star, as anybody in WWE. Because WCW was as big, if not bigger, in viewership than WWE at the time. It was either WWE or WCW. So that's not a fair comparison. And he was like, no, you're just saying, like, WWE's the end all be all. I'm like, no, it's like, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that, you have to be in WWE. I'm saying that if you want your name to be out there, though, if you want to be a bigger name, WWE's the place to go. Because even now, like, AEW, even though they're a huge deal, not a lot of people are going to know AEW. If not, like, if I go to somebody saying, do you know who CM Punk is? Yeah. Like, yeah, I know who CM Punk is. Do you know him from Ring of Honor or WWE? I'm pretty sure people, like, if you just go up to somebody random that knows who CM Punk is, they're not going to say, oh, I know him from Ring of Honor. They're not going to say that. So it's just like, it's just not true. And this guy was trying to argue with me to, like, the ends of the earth. We eventually just been like, you know what? Agree to disagree, whatever. But I don't think he liked my points that I was making. That's besides the point, though. Let's see. What else? There's not a lot of people. Well, nobody's watching, so there's not much to talk about. But Yeah, I mean, there's just a lot of stuff that I see wrong with people. I heard MVP and Chris Jericho almost got into a fight recently in Houston, which is crazy because I didn't really know this, but I heard that MVP is like a black belt in jiu-jitsu or something like that. And so he probably would have kicked Chris Jericho's ass, even though Chris Jericho got like the better of like Goldberg and fucking Sin Cara and shit. Or no, Sin Cara's beat everybody else's ass. But yeah. Uh, let's see what else is going on. I'm trying to think. Somebody was like, "Who's gonna be a bigger star, Wardlow or Madcap Moss?" I gotta say Wardlow. It's just like right now it's just obvious because I mean, ask a couple months from now, we'll know. But right now it's just obvious. It seems like I don't really watch AEW, but it seems like Wardlow's kind of getting pushed a lot, especially with his victory over MJF. Because I know MJF had a streak for a while. God damn, it's hot. It's like 100 degrees here. Sorry, but yeah. So there's that. Um, Cody Rhodes. Oh, freaking Edge being out of Judgment Day. To be honest, I think it's a stupid decision. I think they should have added Finn Balor. I think Finn Balor is a great addition to Judgment Day, but making him the leader and like kicking Edge out is kind of weird to me. Um, some people are saying, "Oh, it's because Cody Rhodes is hurt now and they need a top baby face." And if that's true, then that's kind of a stupid reason. Like they have people like Bobby Lashley. You can push Bobby Lashley. Um, People like let's see. I don't want to say Ricochet because they're not really doing much with him. He just lost the championship, so I don't want to say Ricochet. Um, but I don't know. Maybe they could call somebody up for being that big spot for Cody Rhodes. I don't know, but I think Bobby Lashley would probably be the best choice for that. Um, I hope you can hear me because I'm kind of scared that nobody can hear me. Uh, Hold on. Let me go to YouTube real quick and look at my channel. I probably should have did that first, but yeah. Let's see. Nope, back out of that. Back out of that. Nope, back out of that. Back out of that. Okay. Yeah, you can't hear me. Okay, so it's probably stupid though, because I'm wearing these headphones. I really wear these headphones, so you wouldn't be able to hear background noise, but I don't think it's working. So I'm probably gonna take them off because I don't think there's a point to wearing them. Actually, I'm gonna put them back on just in case, because honestly, I don't know if there's a point to not wearing them. So, yeah, just in case this is working and this is the only thing that's going on with it right now, who knows? But yeah. So, man, I don't know. I think if anybody, it would probably be Bobby Lashley or AJ Styles to take up that spot. If there wasn't an option, if they wanted to go with Edge, they should have chose somebody else, in my opinion. If that was the reason, anyways. Um, keep him as a freaking face, or not a face, but a heel. I mean, they're about to throw Riddle up there, right? So if that was the reason, I don't think that's the reason. They were saying that it's because Edge didn't agree with some supernatural stuff that they wanted to do for the faction. Um, I don't know how to feel about that either. I kind of understand because I mean, with all the supernatural stuff, like it's kind of stupid now, like the whole like Alexa Bliss thing with the doll and like all this weird stuff that they do supernatural stuff. But then again, it can work. Like the Undertaker, he's a freaking undead zombie guy, legend, probably one of the best wrestlers of all time. Um, Again with Kane, he makes the fire come out the fucking ring post. Like there's a lot of like supernatural stuff. The Brood, there's a lot of supernatural stuff that does work. Um, but I guess maybe they just did it like at the right time, right place, right time type of thing. So it's kind of weird. Um, if that's the reason. I also heard that it's because what was the other reason? There was that, and my mind's just going to blank right now. Um, what was the other thing? Oh, the Edge thought it wasn't going anywhere, which again I find kind of stupid because, um, I mean, it hasn't been a thing for a while, so why would it not be doing well enough? It's only been a thing for a couple months, and they recently added Rhea Ripley to it. So why are they just giving up on it? Like, why is Edge giving up on it? Um, they need to give it a little bit more time, add more members, make the stable a little bit more um, intimidating. Because I mean, they literally just got done with their first feud. So how's it not going well? They just got done with their first feud. I don't understand. That's a stupid reason if it is. I think it could have been great. And somebody was like, "Oh, that was just a stupid idea. They should have just added the Brood. Should have been Brood." No, this was fresh. It was fresh. They had a great theme song. Edge being the leader, good. I mean, you can compare it to the Brood, but it's not the Brood. Um, yeah, it's just stupid stuff like that. And yeah, there's not really much else to talk about. There's not been a lot going on recently. I know Alexa Bliss got into some like little argument with Jade Cargill, and I haven't seen anything about it, so I don't really know much. I can't really talk about that too much. Let's see. There's nobody really here, so I'm kind of just talking to myself. Maybe it's people watch a video or something just to see my thoughts on it. But yeah, if there was people here, we could have a conversation. But here's a controversial take. Well, not really controversial. It should be a take that's not controversial at all. Chris Benoit should not ever be in the WWE Hall of Fame. And it's crazy to think that there are people out there that think he should be. And I understand that, his wrestling career and his personal life are two different things, but anybody like kids or something, they're gonna search up, they're gonna search him up. They're gonna hear his name, they're gonna search him up, and that's gonna be the first thing they see. You can make the same thing about China, but the thing about China is, you know, it's just different because you know what she did is kind of personal. She like her it's her own thing. If she wanted to do that and get into that business, it's her decision to do that. But murdering your wife and your child and killing yourself is just beyond ridiculous, and it's just not something that should be glorified at all. And I'm not saying that putting him in the Hall of Fame is going to glorify that and not just his career, but like I said, people are going to search that up. If they don't know who Chris Benoit is, they're just going to see that. Now, if they search up China, they're probably not going to see porn and stuff like that. It's probably not how it's going to work. But they search Chris Benoit up. That's going to be the top thing every freaking time. His Wikipedia, go into his Wikipedia, look him up, see what he did, and that's it. And people that are saying like, oh, it like it's oh my god, I see conspiracy theories and everything about it, saying like, oh, he didn't do it, and it was just Kevin Sullivan and all this crap, and just blaming everything else except for Chris Benoit, and it's ridiculous. Um, yeah, I don't know why I would have to even say that, but it's something that actually is crazy that people are saying that. They're saying that. And yeah, um, John Cena is supposed to come back. It's not like even though I'm wearing all this stuff, it's not like I'm like a massive John Cena fan. I just kind of want to dress up in different outfits and stuff for my streams. But Yeah, I heard he's coming back again, and people saying that he's probably going to go up against Theory because like all the tweets and stuff. And oh man, I got up really early. But yeah, people are like saying that he's gonna go against Theory, and he's gonna. People are like, oh, he should Theory. They shouldn't have Theory go over Cena. Why? If it's just gonna be like a one-off thing, why would they not go against Cena and go over Cena? Like Theory should go over Cena because they're trying to build Theory as a star, and people are saying that he's the next John Cena. He's a heel now, just like how John Cena was, but they think that he's gonna be like the next big thing of the company, which I technically don't really agree with. I really think that they're going to push Cody Rhodes to the top, even after this injury. People are scared that he's not gonna have his push anymore, but I don't think that's the case. I think the fact that he wrestled with a torn pec, with how bad it looked, like I know they're saying, oh, they couldn't have gotten worse, so that's why they let him wrestle. But like the fact that he even did it in the first place, I think it really shows how much of a of like a top guy he is. It shows how much he loves the business and how much he's willing to do for it. And here's something. So recently I saw a tweet of this guy, and I guess there's this like a couple screenshots, and a guy was like, he was like, I have 100 comments about this. It was like showing Cody Rhodes with his torn pec, right? It's like I have 100 comments about this, all negative. It's just, and the conclusion is it's just a bad look for professional wrestling. Okay, you can have that opinion, but then the guy posts an image of the same dude making a tweet about Kenny Omega, and he's like, "Oh man, Kenny Omega wrestled with a banged shoulder, a banged knee, vertigo, a hernia, and who knows what else." And he's like, "You can't, you can't mess with the bout machine." Pretty much praising Kenny Omega for wrestling with injuries. And this woman, or this guy was like, "Oh, it's not the same." And somebody else was like, "How's it not the same? Because Cody Rhodes was wrestling injured versus Kenny Omega wrestling injured. How's it not the same?" And the dude was like, "Well, Kenny Omega didn't have muscle hanging off of him. His muscles weren't showing and all this stuff. And he didn't have a big old purple bruise on him." And that lady made a great point. She said, so visibility means that the injuries, the severity of injuries is visibility. Guy's like, that's not what I said at all. And she's like, yes, you did. Look, took a screenshot of the tweet. This is exactly what you said. And he said, you tried. Well, I replied and I said, and she succeeded. She's like, this. I was like, this is the most biased fucking tweet. I was like, how is this not biased right here? Talking about him and talking about the one up top. And he was like he was just trying to argue with me. I'm not biased, and I was like, bro, you literally, like, if it was AEW, if he was wrestling AEW with a torn pec, they would be praising him. He's like, no, I'm not being biased at all. I'm just saying that, it wasn't as bad as Cody Rhodes. And I'm like, and I was like, so why? Because it's visibility? And I was like, with your logic, he should be freaking, like, he would be better off wrestling with a broken neck. He's like, that's not what I said at all. So guess what I did? I went back up top, just like the girl did, took a screenshot and said, look, this is exactly what you said. And then he was like, how desperate are you people for, like, he was just going off, right? And I was like, bro, this is literally what you said. Like, how explain to me how Kenny Omega wrestling with all this stuff is different than Cody Rhodes wrestling with this stuff. And I forget where it kind of went, but it ended when he was like, "You're the stupidest motherfucker I've ever talked to." I was like, "And that's how you lose an argument." I was like, "You're the one that denied his own argument and was so biased that like it's crazy. Like it's just crazy." I was like, "That's how you lose an argument. You call me a dumb motherfucker because you couldn't back up your own argument, and you even like denied that you said it, even though you can just scroll right back up and see it. That's crazy to me." And this other guy, just some random dude, he was like, there's a difference between hurt and injured, right? I'm like, yes, I do, but it sounded like Kenny Omega was a lot worse than just hurt. As I don't think you can classify vertigo and a hernia as just hurt. And it's like they're saying they have all this stuff. Kenny Omega has all this stuff, and there's more. He's saying, and who knows what else? What does that imply? That there's more stuff going on. And like he was like, I was like, can you explain to me? Or like the girl replied to him too. And she was like, okay, so tell me which report said that one of them was just hurt and one of them was injured. And he never replied. He didn't reply for like 20 or 30 minutes. And she was like, what, no reply? And then he replied like instantly. And he was like, oh, why you're just so begging for attention. Look at you. You're just begging for attention. Why do you want my attention so bad? And I was like, wow. Like I replied, I was like, wow, this is kind of what I expected from, I thought he was going to bring up a good argument, but this is exactly how it goes. You don't know what you're talking about. So what do? You don't respond. And when somebody like, breaks down your argument. And I replied that, and he replied to me, and he was like, since you don't know the difference, that tells me that you've never done anything physical in your life. You've never done any sports or had a job that was physical in your life. I'm like, okay, so how does this support your argument? I was like, just because you're going to insult me and act like you know my life, that means that, like, how does that help your argument? And and I was like, just explain it, bro. I was like, just explain it. And he was, and the other guy, he's like, give it a rest. And I was like that other dude responded, the dude I was arguing with before. And he's like, just give it a rest. And I'm like, bro, I am like seriously suspicious that this is just a burner account that you made to make it look like somebody fucking like supports your stupid fucking argument. I was like, that, or you're just both bad at debating. And the other guy was just like he was just like, wow, like all this crap, right? He's just trying to insult me again. And I was like, okay, let me ask you one more time. Can you explain to me how Kenny Omega wasn't injured? How everything that Kenny Omega had wasn't considered an injury? Never responded, right? Well, he was blocking that girl that was that first started argument, right? He blocked her. He started calling her a bitch and all this stuff. I went to his profile, and he was like, man, people just pick and prod at you until you have nothing left. And I was like, he's the one that started it. He plays the victim. And she even posted it. She was like, man, I can't believe that people will call you insults and names and all this stuff. And they'll insert themselves in arguments. And then they'll fucking post the stuff like this and act like the victim. And he was like, shut up, go back and fuck your fiance. Like that's some kind of insult, right? And like it was just like this is just how they are. This is how people are. You freaking argue your point, right? This is how people that are like super biased. You argue your position, and then they'll say something crazy, crazy biased. Sasha Banks fans, AEW fans, like hardcore AEW fans. I mean, like people that hate WWE. Naomi fans, freaking Cody Rhodes and like all this other stuff, Kenny Omega fans, people that are just so biased that they'll just throw out all logic out the window to to go on their side or to appeal to their own side. And they'll just throw out all logic, and what you have to do is you just break down their arguments constantly. And it'll get to a point where they just either stop replying or they'll just insult you personally. And that's when you know you won. Because then at that point they have nothing else to say. They don't know what to do. So I think it's just fun when they do that. But yeah, that guy was crazy. Like they just don't know what to do. Whenever their arguments get broken down, they just don't know what to do. They shut down and they don't say anything. And I have a lot of fun debating people on Twitter about wrestling because I'm so open-minded and I'm so unbiased about my wrestling opinions that people don't know, like when people are biased, they just don't know what to do whenever you bring up logic and fact. And like that's the whole thing with the Sasha Banks stuff. Like it's like people are like, oh, she was treated bad. She had the right to walk out. Right? You can say that all you want, but she was never treated bad. It was like she was never treated bad. So how can you say that? Like how can you say all this stuff? She was like multiple champion, world champion, all this stuff, right? It's just stupid. But yeah, that's just some of my opinions. I'm probably gonna end this stream because there's not much going on. There's nobody that's joining or anything like that. So there's not anybody for me to debate or talk to. But I'll probably stream again and again and again and again. It don't matter if I get 0 views or what. But yeah, I'm probably gonna end the stream. If anybody's watching after the fact, just to hear me rant about stupid crap. Thank you for watching, I guess. And no, thank you for watching, for real. But and yeah, I'll probably stream. I need to post more mashups. Like I said, I've been really busy lately, so I can only post it every so often. I've just posted one today. Hope people like that one. But thank you guys for watching.